Alright guys, so as I said before, welcome back to episode 9 of Call of Duty, a Halloween related topic, part 2. So, basically after they found out that, Buster Rhymes, his character, is faking this, they were all like saying, hey, we should leave. And one of them opened up a door that opened a dead body head first. It was bloodied body of Bill hanging upside down, and they heard screams that were really real. And Jim, who was watching this from the party on the internet, saying, she must be going for the first internet Emmy. And they thought that this was all real, but then all of a sudden Myers appeared up behind her and then beheaded her with a brutal swing of a butcher knife. I don't know how he'd have the strength to do that. I mean, an axe is understandable, but a butcher knife? Come on. That little thing? And then they asked, how'd they do that? And then they said, it's all digital effects. But one of the guys, who's dating one of the girls, dialed 911 immediately. Myers grabbed Jim's head between his bare hands and crushed the bones in his skull and neck snapped. As Sarah fled upstairs, Rudy valiantly fought off Myers in the kitchen, striking him with a wooden rolling pin. And he's the cook guy. And of course, every horror movie I've seen, the black guy or any type of minority always dies. Seriously, this has become a horrible trend. It's not funny. You don't do something like that. But anyway, striking him and grabbing a knife in each hand to slash at him, but the super strong Myers pinned and suspended Rudy's body on the kitchen floor with the 3 butcher knives. Party audience cheered, but soon realized that the deaths weren't faked. So then they're like, "Oh God, this is real." So all of a sudden, at the end, basically, Sarah began communicating with Deckard through the cams, saying, "What should I do, man? What should I do?" And he's like telling her all these things, like saying, as he's like going. He typed text to her, "Go now." And then all of a sudden, the Buster Rhymes grabbed her and said, "Oh my God, everybody's dead." And then he says, "Let's get out of here." And all of a sudden, Sarah gets blocked by Michael Myers and steps into view, began wrestling against both Freddy using his kung fu kicks, and Sarah attempting to choke Myers with an electronic cable. Freddy kicked Myers through a second-story window, and the killer was suspended in midair and dangled there by a cord wrapped tightly around his neck. He twitched and then stopped moving. However, it does not kill him. Seriously, I hate when people think, "Oh, that's the end of Myers. Oh, wait, we forgot. He cannot die." So, they moved to the front door. Freddy apologized to Sarah for putting her life in danger, not knowing Myers had been living under the house for many years. Sarah's next message from Deckard saying he's still alive, and he had cut the cable choking him and was still in the house. Myers stabbed Freddy twice in the shoulder, but he's still alive. And Sarah fled into the kitchen when she noticed Rudy's corpse in the basement, and then Myers' hideout with a glimpse of Donna's corpse. She climbed up the ladder in the garage/tool shed, the location of the show's control room console, with the monitors mixing and a mixing panel closed off passageway up. She noticed that Nora was hanging from the ceiling in a cable noose and impaled with a butcher knife, which, to be honest, she kind of looks like Beyonce, I guess. I don't know. Sarah then burst out of her hiding place and attacked the evil, resilient, pursuing Myers with a chainsaw. She accidentally severed the electronic cables and sparked an explosion in the electrical fire, further fueled by old paint cans. Freddy saved Sarah from Myers' threatening butcher knife and then said, "Trick or treat, motherfucker," and thrust a high-powered generator plug at Myers' crotch. He definitely got juiced, if you know what I mean. The power surge electrocuted him, further intensified by the pool of blood he was standing in, which I didn't know blood could actually conduct electricity. Water I can understand, but blood, I didn't know that. and the voltage coursed through his stiffened body. Sizzling and crackling sounds were heard. Michael slumped but was still held up by cables, his arms spread and the crucifix posed like, flames roared around him, and the house went up in flames. When with him inside, approaching the scene, police are heard, and then he's like, Sarah received another message. You're alive. On a news broadcast, Sarah thanked Deckard for saving her. Reddy asserted that he didn't want any more cameras. The entertainment is off the air. And then basically went up to Myers. And I've been saying all that stuff. He's like, I hope you don't rest in peace. So later on, there's a morgue and a nervous coroner approached. They basically said, hey, you got a celebrity. So they go, oh, who did I get this time? Michael Myers. And then she's like, oh God. So she goes up to the body bag to examine his burned face. She unzips the bag, noting the melted mask on his burned face. As she started to remove the mask, his eyes suddenly popped up, showing that he was still alive. And apparently there were 3 different endings. The first ending shows the house on fire with Michael entangled in the cords, apparently still alive. While still trapped, Sarah looks around to see the house is on fire, only to be saved by the internet pen pal Miles, whom she does not know personally. Miles then picks her up and runs out of the garage, leaving Michael to burn to death. After being saved by a stranger, she asks him who he is, only to find out that he is in fact Deckard, her internet pen pal, and police arrive. Miles reveals who he really is to Sarah. The second ending takes place right after Freddy shoves away the cameraman, after being asked how he feels at the moment. While the fire department puts out the fire which has consumed the house, the CSI arrived at the scene to investigate. While investigating the hole in the backyard of the house, a female agent looks down the hole, only to be grabbed by Michael, who somehow escaped the burning house. The shot ends with the agent screaming when the screen turns black. And our third and final endings shows Sarah asking to see Michael's face, with Freddy coming to take a peek. When the body bag is opened, a cameraman sneaks a peek at Michael's dead body, and the fireman pushes the cameraman away after saying a few words to a dead Michael. It appears that Michael has survived the fire. Opening his eyes, he grabs Freddy by the neck and starts choking him. Sarah then grabs an axe and hits Michael in the head, finally killing Michael after being released from Michael's grip. Freddy looks at Sarah and says a few words, and also, God bless you, and then he gives her a smile and the scene ends. And to be honest, not that they would continue the Myers franchise, but if they were, I think they should at least end it with a cliffhanger, so that way you can decide whether or not what happens. Because they obviously didn't continue the series. Since his so-called mission is somewhat complete, they should do this thing maybe we could break the curse so that way he's no longer immortal. Maybe we can actually kill him this time. So they find a weakness, and towards the end they're we now broken his barrier. So then he feels it, so now he knows he's got to be a lot more precautious. And they could just end it right there. I couldn't care, honestly. I'd like to see him die permanently, but to see the fact that that they finally know what's causing the curse and how to stop the curse, they could just end it there, and then and they broke the curse, and then all of a sudden he feels that he's no longer immortal, so then they could be we broke the curse, let's go find him, and then he'll be oh God, I gotta get out of here, and they could just end it there. But no, this is the last considered real movie before Rob Zombie films. Not saying that they were bad, they just weren't different. They were just not the same as the other Halloween movies. But, obviously you can't do everything. But, so yeah, that was the final episode. Tomorrow I get to do my reenactments for Halloween 5? Yeah, 5. So, again, I'm Captain Alex Mason, guys. And, I will start I'll be going back soon to some gameplay. Probably going to finish up Modern Warfare because it turns out one of my multiplayer episodes did not upload. So that may be a problem. But otherwise, I think it'll work. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.